Hey guys, Sarah here. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be sharing the basics of braiding. I'm going to show you how to braid, how to French braid, and how to Dutch braid. So if you're interested in that, keep watching. And if you're new here, don't forget to subscribe before you leave so you don't miss any of my future videos. All right, let's get into it. This video is geared towards beginners. So if you are already a pro at braiding, you do not need to watch this, although you're obviously welcome to hang out with me. So I just want to go over the total basics of braiding your hair because I know that a lot of people have no idea how to start, and I did a little tutorial on my IGTV. I was gonna say IG live, I didn't go live. I did an IGTV on this little hairstyle that I do quite often, especially if I'm spending the day on the lake, where I do 2 Dutch braids and then just put a little messy bun at the bottom of my head. And a lot of you said in that video and just DM'd me and stuff saying that you had no idea how to even braid your hair. So that's what this video is for. The only things that I have are these, which are these little black elastics. I love these. I got this package from Target. It is from Scunsy. It's 300 of them and they come in different sizes. Absolutely love these. I use these very, very often. And then I have my little container of bobby pins. Not sure if I will use these or not, but I do always part my hair with a bobby pin. I don't know why. Anyway, let's get into it. I just finished filming this video and I want to pop in really quickly and give you guys a disclaimer that I am not a hairstylist. I am self-taught. I did not go to school for this. I've had no training. I've literally just played around with my own hair. I don't have extensions, so please go easy on me. I'm just trying to teach you guys anything that I know. I am not perfect and I am not like the world's best hair braider on the planet. So I just figured I would throw that in there because I'm sure some of you are going to be hating on the style of how I braid my hair or how I explain it or whatever. I'm not a teacher and I'm not a hairstylist. So let's learn how to braid hair. Everyone's hair is different when it comes to how your hair holds style. My hair is naturally straight and I don't dye it, I don't do anything to it, and so it doesn't hold style very easily because it's pretty healthy since I don't dye it or really damage it very often. So that being said, a lot of times if I'm doing a braided hairstyle, I will put dry shampoo or some sort of texturizing spray in my hair before I start. I'm not doing that today just because I'm going to be showing you multiple styles, but I think what products you need are going to be dependent on what type of hair you have. And I'm just going to share some tips along the way. So I just brought all of my hair to one side of my head and I'm just going to show you guys, first of all, how to braid. So I'm sure a lot of you know how to braid, but if you do not know how, just a regular braid is 3 sections. What I always do when I'm braiding my hair is I take the section that I want to braid and then I just take my ring finger and my middle finger, I'm grabbing it with my thumb, and I just put my fingers through that piece. So hold it with my thumb and then I put those 2 fingers in and that creates the 3 sections that I need to braid. So I hope that makes sense, but that's generally what I do. You can just separate it with your fingers if you want to do it that way. However you want to do it, you need 3 pieces. I think the hardest part about braiding is figuring out how to hold things with your hands. It's going to be different for everyone, and it's also different depending on what side of your head you're braiding on, especially once you're doing French and Dutch braids, but you'll get the hang of it. Just be really patient with yourself and really look at how your fingers are, and even if you want to watch my fingers and what fingers are holding which things, I think that's the hardest part about braiding. So we have our 3 pieces. Anytime I'm holding 2 of the strands with one hand, they're in separate fingers. So I always have 1 strand between my thumb and my pointer finger, and then I hold the other one with kind of the rest of my fingers. So they're always separated. And then I always do the 3rd one in the other hand. So braids are your outside. So I'm gonna do the top strand goes under the middle strand, and then I'm just hooking it kind of with my pinky or with my pointer finger, and then the bottom strand goes under the middle strand. And see, now I'm holding it again with the rest of my fingers. So I will always have strands in those 2 positions, and then you just repeat. So middle strand under the bottom, or I'm sorry, top strand under the bottom into the middle, bottom strand under the bottom into the middle, and grab. And I'm always going down, grabbing, going down, grabbing. So, and you can see that on each side of my hands. With my right hand, I grab the pieces with the rest of my fingers, and then with my left hand, I'm grabbing with my pointer finger. It's whichever finger is closest to the middle that I grab with. So, I'm hoping that that makes sense. So you're always taking one side, like right side, and you can go over top as well. That's gonna be the difference between Dutch and French braids. So if I'm braiding this top portion, I'm hoping that you guys can see this. I know it's a little bit hard to see braiding on dark hair, but you know, I only have one head of hair to show you on. So, so you have these 3 strands. So I'm trying to think of the direction of what you're seeing it as. So the left goes over top in the middle, and then the right goes over top into the middle. Left over top in the middle, right over top in the middle. You just repeat that. So hopefully that makes sense. You just go all the way down, over top in the middle, over top in the middle. So that is a regular braid. Like I said earlier, the difference between French braiding and Dutch braiding is just the direction that your hands are going in, whether you braid on top or underneath. A French braid, you are braiding it on top. So the side pieces going into the middle go over the top. If you are Dutch braiding, the side pieces go into the middle underneath. So I'm going to show you both. When I braid my hair, I almost always do a Dutch braid because my hair is dark. And it's really hard to see braids on dark hair. And so I find that you can see the braid better with Dutch braids. And I think that they're easier to kind of pull apart. And I want to say it's called pancaking your braid. It's easier to do that to your braid when it is a Dutch braid, in my personal opinion. So I am going to take a bobby pin, and I'm just going to do this front section of my hair because this is a style I do pretty often. And I think that since it'll be the front of my hair, it'll be easier for you to see. So this is the section of hair I'm going to braid. The rest of my hair, I'm going to just put back with a hair tie so that it's out of my way. And then I do take a bobby pin again. If you have one of those combs that has the pointy end, you can use that. But I try to take a piece that goes all the way down this like full width of the braid. And it's a pretty skinny section to start with. And this is French braids. So again, I'm putting it right in that, in between my thumb and pointer. And then I'm taking my middle and ring finger down the center to create the 3 pieces. Now, for a French braid, we're taking one side into the middle, the other side into the middle. Now that we've done the first one, this is when we start picking up hair. So we just take this side piece again, and I'm transferring the pieces between my fingers so that I can pick up hair accordingly. So from the back, I always try to pick up hair. I almost do like an invisible line down the center of my braid so that I know when I'm on this side, I'm picking up hair from that side of it. When I'm in the front, I'm picking up pieces from that virtual front. So for this back piece, I'm picking up hair from that back corner. And then I'm just using my pinky to kind of smooth out the rest of it. You don't feel like you have to keep your hands in a certain place when you're braiding. It can go all over, and then when you pull it tight, it'll look right, just like a braid again. So now that we have the hair picked up, we're gonna go back over top, and then we're gonna pick up hair from this side. So again, that virtual first half of the hair, I'm just picking it up and smoothing it out again. Again, I'm holding the piece that I already had and picking up additional hair. And then I'm just gonna put that into the middle. So now these 2 pieces are thicker than this one because this is the only one we haven't picked up more hair in. So again, from the back, picking up a little bit more hair, and we're gonna put it in the middle. front piece, picking up a little bit more, and putting it into the middle. So you just continue this on with all of your hair, and the amount that you're picking up will be different depending on what you're braiding. If you're braiding all of your hair, you're going to be picking up more hair than me braiding this tiny little section of my hair. But you just continue on doing the exact same thing, picking up hair from each side and then putting it into the middle. And then once you get to the point that you don't have any more hair to pick up, you just braid it normally. And you can braid as far down or not far as you want. So that is how you French braid hair. And I'm just gonna show you one more example of French braiding, because I think a lot of people do this hairstyle. When you think of French braids, you think of doing the 2 braids down the side of your head. Whatever direction my braid is going in, like for this one, it's gonna go back. So I don't want my hair all hanging down. I kind of just finger comb it to be kind of heading back in the direction that I want. And then I'm taking, again, for the width of the braid, which the braid's gonna go back, so the width of the braid is this way. I'm just taking a section of hair, combing through it, and then right in that thumb area, creating the 3 sections. So again, we're gonna go into the center and then into the center. And as you can see, I'm holding my hair very differently than I did in the other one because my hands were both down from the side. This time I'm braiding back, so both of my arms have to be up like this. This is if you're doing it on yourself. If you're doing it on somebody else, it's much easier. So now we're picking up again. So we're starting with the back piece, picking up a little bit of hair, and then we're moving that to the center. From the front, picking up hair and moving it to the center. We're back to that 3rd piece where this one hasn't picked up any hair yet. This is the last one to pick up hair for the first batch. And move it to the center. I feel like that's gonna be me on repeat this entire video. Just do something and then do it again, moving it to the center. So that the last piece is down, so I'm just picking it up with some extra hair, moving it right into the middle. So I'm not sure how you guys are gonna be able to see me doing this now. Maybe I should move to the side. Hopefully you can see this. Now that all of the hair is picked up, we're just going to continue the braid on. So that is what the French braid looks like all the way down. And you can pull out little pieces if you want, if you have like little bangs or something. And then you can, of course, pancake the braid as well. So I'm just pulling it down a little bit and then just kind of pulling this apart. Again, just rubbing my fingers together in every section. And you can actually do it to the top too. If you have a French braid or a Dutch braid, you can kind of pull it apart. I personally like to pull apart Dutch braids up here more than French braids, just because I think they're easier to, which I am going to show you guys Dutch braids next. But I am just going to do the other side of my hair with the French braid so that you guys can see what it looks like completely done. Braiding your own hair takes a lot of practice, and I wasn't looking when I was doing this one. Obviously I was turned around, but you can see that I wasn't pulling it tight enough here. So what you can do is just take bobby pins and pull it wherever you want it to be, and then just pin it right into the braid. And you can do as many or as few as you want. Sometimes you can just kind of push the hair, tighten it into the braid. But you can see obviously that fixed that poofiness right there. And I have it a little bit right here as well. So you can do the same thing. But yeah, you can keep it as messy or as tight as you want it to be. Braids are so personal, and however your personal style is. But this is how I French braid. Honestly, I never ever French braid my hair, just because I don't really like the way that it looks on brown hair. So because of that reason, I exclusively Dutch braid my hair. But I did want to show you guys how to French braid. If you are blonde, or if you just prefer it or think that it's easier, you can certainly French braid. All right, I'm gonna take these out, and then we're gonna talk about Dutch braids, which are my personal favorite. We are going to Dutch braid now. I already did this side off camera, and I'm going to show you another way if you don't want to have your hands over, if you want to braid it this way. So with the French braids, the braids were farther back on my head. This braid I put kind of closer to following my ear, but I'm sure you can tell that you can see the braid better with the Dutch braid. It kind of stands out more, and I have not taken this one apart yet, which I will do that with you guys in a minute. Like I said before, it is just a matter of if you're going over or under with French braids versus Dutch braids. So for Dutch braids, I'm going to show you the front of my hair. We'll braid that little section again, and then I'll braid the whole thing again so that you guys can see. I don't think I've ever braided my hair this many times in one day in my life. I'm just going to tie this part of my hair back so that I don't pick up any from this section. If this isn't a look, I don't know what is. Half braided, a quarter ponytail, and a quarter down. So I'm taking my bobby pin, taking the small section, the entire width of the braid again, and then I'm just going to separate it into three sections like I did before. The difference, again, between the Dutch and the French is that the French braid goes over top and the Dutch goes underneath. So taking this back section underneath in the middle, and the front section underneath in the middle. Now I'm going to pick up. So the front section, or I mean rather the back section, I'm picking up and going underneath in the middle. Now the front section, picking up and going underneath in the middle. And you just repeat that, picking up sections and putting them underneath. And you just do that exact same motion, going under instead of over, until you get to the end of your braid. Once you don't have any more hair to pick up, you just braid it normally. It's like that with either French or Dutch. As soon as you get to the bottom of where your hair is connecting from your head, you just braid it normally. So hopefully you can see the difference between that and the French braid on my hair, that it definitely sticks up more. And let me secure this with a hair tie. I do this a lot where I braid the front part of my hair, and sometimes I'll just put the hair tie in like an inch or two below where I stopped braiding. And then I'll just start pulling it apart. And this is where I think you can really pull apart the braid on the top, because you have the full braid kind of sticking out over your hair. With the French braid, the braid is in your hair, if that makes sense. But all the hair that's going into this braid is underneath the actual braid. So it's easier to pull apart a Dutch braid. So as you can see, that's much bigger now. And then usually I will stop braiding it like right here. So then this part hangs down in front of my ear, but then you can just pin it back if you want and have the rest of your hair down. You can just have like a cute little braid in the front, or you can do it half up with a braid. You can even just leave this braid down and braid it all the way down. You can do whatever you want with it, but I just figured I would show you guys what it looks like in the front, because that is a style that I do on a pretty regular basis. One more thing I want to show you, and I hope I'm not confusing you by saying this, but I've noticed, this is a tip a hairstylist gave me years and years ago, is if you're doing a braid, especially in the front of your hair and you have dark hair, if you pick up only from the front, so you don't do the back pickups, you just braid it normally, but every time you're at the front you pick up, it gives you more volume and it just looks bigger. So I'm going to show you that really quickly. All right, so back underneath, front underneath. And then normally right now I would pick up from the back. I'm not gonna pick up from the back. I'm just putting it right back underneath in the middle, and I'm gonna pick up from the front. And then again, I skipped the back, picking up from the front. So I'm picking up larger pieces because I am picking up for both sides in the front. So this allows me to pick up more hair in each strand faster, and I think it just gives you a little bit more volume. But that's personally how I braid the front of my hair. You can do it however you like. I actually sometimes will do that when I braid my hair from the side. I will just do one big Dutch braid and pick up all of the hair from the front, and I'll do a side braid like that. Hopefully that wasn't confusing. If it was, just skip that part and pick up from both sides. All right, let's do the full braid down the side like I did on this side, because I'm gonna show you how you can have both arms in front instead of doing one arm overhead and working from the back. So this one, I'm going to be able to do the majority of the braiding facing front, so that it's gonna kind of line my ear. Again, you're picking up the width of the braid. And this time, instead of pulling it back, I'm still keeping it in the front. So separate into 3 sections. Back underneath, front underneath. And then I'm picking up from the back, putting it underneath, and picking up from the front, and putting it underneath. And then I'm picking up from the back, putting it underneath, picking up from the front. And this one gives you a little bit more control over your arms, because you don't have to have them back and you can see a little bit more of what you're doing, unless you're trying to film it and show the side. But I can see everything in the mirror if I'm facing forward. It's that I'm trying to show you guys. So picked up from the back, putting it underneath. Picking up from the front. And then I'm out of hair, so I'm just going to braid it normally. With this method, I find that it's easier to get it really tight. Like you can see it's way tighter against my head than the French braids because the braid is on top, so you can kind of pull it tighter. And you really do have control over where the braids sit. So the braid can be really close to your ear like this one is. It can be farther back on your head, kind of like straight back and down the middle. It can be wherever you want it to be after you get some practice in. But I'm going to pull these braids apart. You can see what they look like this. This is what it looks like from the back. You can see that the braids are more on the sides and not in the middle like the French braids were. And I missed this little piece right here. But yeah, so these braids are much more to the side, and I personally find it easier to braid with your hands in front of you than behind you, but I know everyone is different. Everyone thinks that like either French braids or Dutch braids are easier. It's all about preference. So I'm just here to give you guys all the options and hopefully teach you a thing or two, give you some tips, and that's that. I'm going to pull these apart. And I wanted to do them one at a time so that you can see the difference of them next to each other, how big and fluffy you can have it, or how tight and just like closer to your head you can have it. It's completely customizable however you want. Sometimes I'll even pull the hair tie out even more depending on how fluffy I make the braid. And if you do fluff it out and like this one piece is hanging up a little bit too much, you can either tuck it back in or you can pin it however you want it. But as you can see, this one's really fluffy now and it's way messier and just looser against my head than this one is. This one's just like completely tight. So you can have it whatever style you want. I usually fluff it up and then I'll just take these together and do a little messy bun like this. So it's like nice and messy, braided down the sides of my head and then a messy bun in the back. But you can obviously keep the braids down here as well and make them as big and fluffy as you want them to be. So that is what it looks like. And then I'm just gonna do it to this side as well so that you can see. All right, that is Dutch braids. Alrighty guys, that is everything for this video. I hope that you found it helpful and maybe you learned a tip or a trick or how to braid or something from this. Let me know down below if you want to see more hair videos. Do you want to see like my top braided hairstyles or how I curl my hair or something like that? If you do, leave me a comment. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it and don't forget to subscribe before you leave so you don't miss any of my future videos. Thanks so much for watching. Bye guys.